I'm Shaylesh Patel. I'm the founder of a charity and social enterprise called Healthy Planet. First slide. That's me. That's today, just in case. I gave up my career in accountancy and all the usual stuff that an Indian guy normally does, I have to say. About 7 years ago, I read a report saying that our kids are on track to lead a shorter life than their parents. So it's going backwards for the first time since records began 150 years ago. And as a parent, that didn't fit right with me. And I looked into kind of why, and it was basically things like, when I was a kid, we used to watch Dallas. It was the only thing on TV worth watching. There was only 4 TV channels, and we play in the park till 9 o'clock. And nowadays, they've got all these gadgets, and they don't go out, and all that sort of stuff. And the parents are busier, more frozen food on the table. They're lazier. They ask me for a lift to school, and it's only half a mile away. And you kind of think, I can't believe what's going on. And at the same time, in mankind's history, you've got the Industrial Revolution. So we've made ourselves lazier and more unhealthy. So the two go hand in hand. So our kind of central ethos is how we lead our life affects not just our personal health, but the health of our children and the health of the planet. So the idea is we try and get green and healthy things going in your everyday life, where if you times that by 60 or 70 million people or 7 billion people around the world, it adds up to something big. So we're always very positive. We don't do any preachy stuff, but we try and do things that are really practical, and that's part of the whole sharing story for us. So in short, we unite communities to make small changes that will build a sustainable legacy. And it's all in the name. It's about health and the planet, and the two go hand in hand. Next slide. Okay, so this is some of the stuff we've done. As I say, I'm going to talk really, really fast and focus on some things. Adopt a plot is us going off to Google and saying, can we borrow your Google Maps technology? Can we put a layer on top? Can we put people's names, pictures, and messages on there for different plots around the world? And that way, it's an online gift. So Stephen Fry did it for Mother's Day a few years ago in a place where he grew up called the Great Fen Project in Cambridgeshire. So the idea there was that it's a conservation project. We're trying to draw some attention to the fact of what's going on there. And he adopted a plot of land for his mum for Mother's Day. So it's the best gift that you can buy. He described it as the greenest gift on Earth. So rather than taking stuff off the planet, by buying this gift, which most people want to do at Christmas or Mother's Day, he's actually putting something back in. So that was part of Stephen Fry tweeting about it. So he shared his brain power. We had Google sharing their technology, no charge, and us just putting those sorts of guys together and making that work really well. Nigel Marvin's our patron, so for you guys with kids, you might know him. He's like a younger version of David Attenborough. He's done the voiceover for Walking with Dinosaurs, that kind of thing. And these are some of just the achievements that we've had over the few years. That one is an interesting one for us. I'm not a geography sort of guy by background, but I went to uni with one guy. He's got the bad haircut and everything. He works at King's College. And he's told some of his people about that. So the IUCN stands for the International Union of Conservation for Nature. So they're like the worldwide guru on conservation. And they've listed us and this technology as one of the top 60 initiatives to watch in the world for the next 60 years in terms of having an impact on conservation. So again, it's just about sharing the story and what we do. Next slide. Okay, offline. Have any of you guys heard of books for free? Yes, someone said yes. Whereabouts do you live, or how have you heard of it?
I read about it a long time ago.
Brilliant. Okay, so we've got 35 centres, so that you walk in, it's like a bookshop, but there's no till. And I'll tell you a little bit more about how this works. So we've basically got commercial landlords of properties with unlet space. We borrow them off them until they manage to find a tenant. We save them money, and then we give out books totally free of charge. And you're kind of wondering how this business model works, because we've never had any grant funding, and I'll come on to that. We've saved 3.5 million books in 3.5 years that would have gone to landfill or being pulped. Now, the scary fact that I learnt about this was it takes the equivalent energy of 1.5 gallons of petrol to pulp a book. Now, pulping is generally speaking quite a good thing because it's about recycling. But wouldn't it be better if we all just got a bit better at reuse or passing it on to someone else? So redistributing, renewing, all that kind of stuff. So again, it's all part of the share story for us. Stuff for free, this is one of my favorite things. It's a bit mad. It's a bit like FreeCycle, but in a room. So if you've got clutter in your house and you want to give it to us, please do. And then the next weekend, we'll invite anyone to come along and take whatever they like. No charge again. So again, you've got things in your house that maybe even charity shops don't want because there's too many scratches on the coffee table, but I can find someone who would probably want that. Or they could upcycle it and improve it. So these are the sorts of things. We're trying to get people to think a little bit differently. Again, these are just some awards and stuff that we've won, so I'll click on. Right, conservation community, that's the Adopt Land thing. healthy business. That's us working with landlords. So again, just a reminder, they come to us because they like what we do, and more importantly, it saves them money. We're talking not just ruthless business people, but we're talking pension schemes as well. So when we're saving them money, we're actually having a bigger knock-on effect that you wouldn't otherwise realize. That shouldn't be there twice, but doesn't matter. Next one, Isaac. Schools, we give out free lesson plans. They're available to download from our website, because if we can get kids thinking correctly now, then that will set ourselves up for a much better future. So we try and help them where we can. And the others are the usual suspects: books for free, stuff for free. These ones are specific companies that are helping us in different ways. So this is a really cool hotel. There's one in Bloomsbury and there's one in Chelsea. They've actually put 2 bins into every hotel room with a little badge that tells you when and why to use this bin, when and why to use the other bin. And they've got a little bit of messaging in the bathroom as well, which basically says, if you turn off the tap when you brush your teeth, it will save enough drinking water for a family of 4 for the day. Now, that's badged up as our message to residents of a hotel. Because you can imagine, if it was a hotel trying to tell you to do stuff like that, you kind of take the message a little bit differently. And that's why they like working with people like us. Again, it's the same message, but it's shared through a slightly different mechanism. That's fine. Okay, who's good with numbers here? Okay, all right, this is where I'm going to try and blow your head a little bit. Okay, so if you imagine yourself as a landlord of an empty shop. So previously you used to get rent, and now you don't. You now have to pay a rates bill, which is a bit like council tax for a business. So you can either pay, say, £10,000 a year in empty rates, and you'll be left with a very bland, ugly unit. Or if you give us the space as a charity, and we'll do things like books for free, we get an 80% discount, so that £10,000 bill will drop. Sorry, that should say 100. So that should then goes down to 20. If as a landlord you then, cool, clicking too fast. Isaac, you're getting too excited. You pay a certain amount in rates. If you give us a little bit of an extra contribution, and that's what pays for books for free, then you're still walking away with a financial savings. So really, landlords love this. They've given us £2 million a year for the last few years. It works really, really well. And that's why you'll find us all over the country. We've got 35 books for free centres around the country. So again, it's all about sharing for us. So we've got a landlord who's sharing the space, we've got people who are sharing their books, and we're sharing all of this stuff. And money doesn't have to change hands when you come into one of our centres. Next slide. I think I can slow down a bit now. Right, so community benefits. This is what it's all about for us. This bringing it back to my kids, what sort of future they're going to have, how screwed up this planet's going to be or not. This is what it boils down to. So our books are free centres, different from charity shops who are selling stuff to help a different community. So we work with a lot of the charities, the Macmillans, the cancer researchers. We give them books that we think are quite valuable, but we don't know how to sell them because we're not geared up for that. We let them have them, and they give us the ones that haven't been shifting for the last few weeks. It's no harm, basically. And so both of us are trying to encourage saving them from ending up in a bin. We adopt a flexible approach dependent on local needs, so whether that's eco groups in the local area, Rotary, Lions, volunteer centres. So these are the sorts of guys where we've said to them, why don't you come in and share our space with us? We won't charge you a penny. As long as you know that when we have to leave, because the landlord's rented the space and we're hopefully creating jobs with them, then that point you need to leave. So the Rotary Club of Slough has done something really interesting because they're so close to Heathrow, they have an issue of trying to integrate people who are asylum seekers. So they basically run the books for free for us, and in the back room, they teach them English as well. So they have literacy classes using our books in the back room, and so they run the whole centre for us. So it's really great. So whatever the local needs are, we work with local people. And this is probably the most important point for me. I didn't dream any of this stuff up. People come and tell me these ideas like, oh, do you take other stuff? I think books for free is great, but could you take a coffee table? And it's like, well, I can't, I don't have a van, but we'll organise these things, and then that's how Stuff for Free was born. So if you guys have got any crazy ideas and it's social in some sort of way, please come and tell us. We always love crazy. Great, that's community benefits. Oh. So very, very quickly, just to put a bit of perspective on it in terms of numbers, since we started doing this about 4 years ago, we've spent just under £750,000. About half of that has gone on the collection and giving away of books. So it costs us about 10p per book to be able to do this. And we've done this 3.5 million times in 3.5 years. So that's been great success for us, which equates to about 20 million litres of petrol. I worked that out the other day. And schools have obviously got free lesson plans. Probably about 2,000 have used them over the course of a few years. And on top of that, if we do make a surplus, we've spent about £250,000 on conservation projects, ranging from the Stephen Fry one in Cambridgeshire right through to the usual suspects in Brazil and South America and all that sort of stuff. So that's it. That's our sharing story, really. So hopefully you found that useful. Great. Thank you. No worries.